morning, everybody. My name is Leanne Bell. I'm a sophomore horticulture major here at Virginia Tech, and today I'm going to be talking a little bit about the rainforest, specifically the Amazon, and just a little bit that you might need to know if you ever were to find yourself there on a research position, maybe just exploring around vacation, because sometimes, terrible things can happen. But anybody ever heard of or seen the show Man vs. Wild with Bear Grylls? He goes out for a couple days and it's just dropped in the middle of nowhere, and he kind of survives off the land until, his designated pickup time. So anybody, just like a show of hands, really, if you've seen or heard of it? Okay. So I watched that show a lot when I was a little kid. There's a picture of him there. So we're going to be talking a little bit about if you were to just find yourself, lost in the Amazon, some sort of jungle, environment. So what are you going to do? Obviously, you're not going to panic. That would be bad. But you're going to want to try and get to a place of high ground if, the environment permits. You want to get above so you can have a bird's eye view, to look out at your location. You want to see if there are signs of civilization, see if there are, shorelines anywhere. That's really the best place to be found if you were to, find yourself lost in, the jungle, desert, literally anywhere. You're also going to want to take inventory of what you have with you. If you have, a backpack, you're camping, things like that, because that stuff's going to become really important, really crucial to your survival. So here on the map, we're going to be looking at the general areas, kind of your tropical, subtropical areas. You have your Amazon down here, and then your other, warm, steamy places. These are just in general like your three main areas in the world where you're going to find that hot, steamy environment in the jungle, with monkeys and tigers and things like that. So we're going to be talking specifically about some things that will help you and could harm you in the Amazon basin, which is over here towards Brazil, right on this side. So the first plant that we're going to be talking about is called curare, and so it is native to the Amazonian basin. So the native word means poison, literally. If you've ever watched Indian videos or cartoons, you see the native indigenous people shooting poison darts out of bamboo sticks. So the poison darts that they're shooting, wherever and at whomever, are made from a solution of this curare plant. The leaves are pretty poisonous, and it is a strong muscle relaxer. So if it is injected into your body, it gets in a cut or some sort of wound, or you ingest it, it is going to be really harmful. High doses can kill you. So that's what they use as a form of hunting and weaponry. But it also is used in some modern medicines since it is such a strong muscle relaxer. So our next plant, this is a stinging nettle. It is a little bit similar to the curare plant, but it also has a lot of beneficial uses, something that you might want to try and find if you're lost. It is also native to the Brazilian tropics, closer in the, towards the deeper parts of the area, not, towards the shorelines, because it does grow in really dense jungle and forest. But it does look like this. You can identify it by the leaves. They do have this, jagged edging, but they do look like a heart. If you can see in this picture, it's a little small. It does have, that upside-down heart shape, which is easily identifiable if you really are looking. But it is, it does sting. That's why it is called the stinging nettle. So if you do touch it or rub up against it, you are going to feel a burning sensation, kind of like if you were to be stung by a jellyfish almost. It would be a little bit similar. But it is a good source of vitamins, iron, things like that you're really going to need if you are stranded in the jungle, you're lost, you don't have food and water, things like that. But in order to prepare it, it cannot be eaten raw. You do need to steep it in tea, which is a great way. Lots of native people will do that because it calms your nerves, and it also acts as a repellent against allergies, or the leaves can be dried out and eaten. Just once they're dry and crispy. But if you do eat it raw just off the plant, it is going to be really harmful. You're going to have a lot of gastrointestinal issues with that if you do eat it in its raw form. So it does have to be cooked or steeped in tea. And if you're in the jungle or you're lost, you don't want to be drinking the water that's around. You don't want to drink seawater. If you find some source of fresh water, the best option really is to boil it, because you'll get rid of all those harmful chemicals. Even though it will be warm, which you wouldn't want in such a hot place like this, it is going to be the best. You are going to become rehydrated, but you're not going to be getting any of the terrible, terrible, chemicals or germs and bacteria that, live in the water in areas like this. And so our third plant that we're going to be talking about is the Brazilian coconut. So here's a picture right here. Not as easily identifiable as, the classic, with the brown that you see, at beach resorts and in movies and pictures, but they do grow in, they do grow in these green encasings. That's called the exocarp. That's the husk, that green, kind of fibrous outer casing of the entire fruit. They do grow up to 98 feet tall. They can be really, really high, which might be hard to, get to. But they do, once they get real heavy in clusters like this, they do have a tendency to fall off. Additionally, if there's a storm or wind, things like that, just an environmental factor that will knock them onto the ground, pretty often. They do grow, obviously along the shores. You see them on beaches and things like that a lot. But they do grow deeper into the jungle. They just are a little bit harder to find. But also, a really important thing that you would want to look for if you were lost in the Amazon rainforest, because the coconut itself, the fruit inside, and the water is one of the most nutritional and beneficial things that even, us today, people drink it all the time. But it really would help replenish your nutrients, your energy, your electrolytes, things like that. And so today I'm going to be cracking open a coconut for you. And you all have pieces of the coconut. You can go ahead and try. That's from when I cracked at home by myself. You can go ahead and try that. It actually is really good, not as sweetened as your commercial coconut. But what we're going to do is what I've already done for you is the exocarp, that husk part, I've already removed from the coconut that I have here, just because it does take a lot more work and in the interest of time. So we're going to be starting with the mesocarp, which is this brown kind of fibrous, the really hard part. That's that second layer, and the inside, which is the endocarp, is that white flesh, the part that you're eating now. So it is a little tough, but it does taste like coconut. It is really refreshing. It's I really like coconut. But so then what we're going to do is we're going to be tapping. Lots of people commercially will use hammers and screwdrivers to poke into the eyes of the coconut. These three right here. But since we're lost in the Amazon, we're not going to have things like that. So I'm going to just be using a rock that I found outside. But we're going to be tapping into the center right here, along in circles like that. And once it's loosened, I'm going to drain the juice, the coconut water, into a bowl. And if you would like, the cups are there. You guys can try the coconut water. It actually is really delicious. And it is a great source of, your vitamins and things like that. Go back to that slide. So you just want to crack into it a couple times, moving your, along just the center line, because that's where it's going to split. And then we're going to drain all the water out. Yeah, it is. You will know a fresh coconut by how much water is in it when you shake it, actually. The ones with the most water are the most ripe, and they're the ones that are going to be the most beneficial. So I have all that in there. And so this is your, the inside of your coconut. This is the fleshy part that you all just sampled if you decided you wanted to eat some. So it looks like that. And then eventually, depending on if you can get it all out, you'll use, this is what you end up with. This is the small bowl, which could be used for other beneficial things. So would anybody like to try the coconut water? That's what the little cups are for. I can just bring it around if you'd like to try a little bit. Yeah, sure. So, your yes, no? So the coconut water, the brown fibrous part, actually, it is 100% digestible. Would you like some? So you can drink it. It's really good. But coconut water actually is said to be more beneficial than most sports drinks. It has less sodium, more potassium, and fewer calories. Did you guys want to try it? Yes. Then your Gatorades, your Powerades, and things like that, vitamin water, life water, and it is 100% natural, obviously. This stuff isn't going to be sweetened, so it really is beneficial. It's going to rehydrate you. Coconut water actually is isotonic to, would you like to try some, to human blood, so it does really get into the plasma of your system quickly, and it's going to rehydrate you almost instantly. Yeah. Do you want to try some? So number one most important thing to look for lost in the jungle would be coconuts, I would say. And with that, does anybody have any questions? Yeah, no problem. Do you want to try some? Do you guys like it? Yeah, what did you guys think?
Sorry, it's missing something.
Yeah, it's not sweetened like most.
Yeah, I would say it was too sweet.
Yeah.
Almost like sugar was.
Did anybody want to look? I have the husk of another one that I cracked. Did anybody want to look at it? Sure, you can just pass it around. If you guys don't have any other questions, yeah, go ahead.
How do you actually get the coconut out?
So, you could do it in, and I also have extra pieces of coconut if anybody wants more. It's kind of a process. I started with a spoon, just in my apartment. You could use a stick, anything that has a sharp edge. If you really tried, you could, peel it out with your fingernails. It just really is pretty tough and dense. I ended up using a knife just because that made it easier and I wanted to bring in samples for you guys. But, you could use almost anything. It's just going to take more time to kind of work at it.
What you gonna do with that?
So, does anybody want some?
I'll take care.
Yeah, sure. I have more at home that I was practicing with, so. Yeah, it took like half an hour to get it like that, but. Does anybody else want to try like a piece of coconut? If anybody really liked it or not, I don't know. But
You wanna see?
Oh, no.
thanks.
So if you're not lost in the rainforest, how do you crack it open?
So-
Without a block?
Commercially, most people in my research, I found that people, they will use a screwdriver. If you look at the husk is being passed around, there are 3 eyes, and that's where, a plant would germinate out because, the coconut is a seed technically, or drupe. But, and so what lots of people will do, because it's a little bit less messy, they will stick a screwdriver into one of the eyes and pound it down with a hammer and do it in all 3 of those eyes because there are 3 of them, and then drain out the water because it's used in cooking and various things. And then